Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we are discussing a 2019 model year limited edition of 200 pieces in platinum. This is the Lange Sohne Datograph Lumen, the fourth in the Lumen series. This model also marked 20 years of the Datograph flyback chronograph. So the watch is the size of the Datograph Up Down, which serves as the base model here. So 41 millimeters in diameter, it's 13.8 millimeters thick. It is 48.6 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, and it has a spacing of 20 millimeters between the lugs. When we throw it on my wrist of 16 centimeters circumference, you can see it wears comfortably. It's not as thick as you might think, and with a domed bezel, it'll actually slide beneath many cuffs. It'll fit a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference in my estimation. There is a lot of mass here. You can really feel that with the platinum case. Taking a look at the strap, it's neither black nor gray. It's anthracite, a color that sits between the two of them. There's a lightly contrasting stitch. It's large rectangular scale alligator leather in a semi-gloss finish. There's a folded edge. There is some bolstering to give it thickness and body, and on the underside you can see calf skin in gray or anthracite to match the top. It is a brand new Lange Sohne factory strap, and you can see that well. There's no crimping or gouging. We have Lange's typical pin buckle, which is a smart piece. I always like to call out two features. The first is the elevated bridge, so that you can see the prongs on the side actually sit below the bridge, so the strap actually sits inside the buckle on the wrist rather than stacking up underneath. There's also this little retaining bar, so if you're like me, you have a small wrist, you're going to use the smallest hole or even punch a smaller hole. You know that a tightly strapped watch can get stuck on the wrist, so this little retaining bar prevents the strap from getting pinned on the pin if it's on there tight. The case band is vertical, satinated for the most part, though it has polished highlights. You can see the lip of the case back and the lip of the bezel are both polished. We have a trigger that's actually satinated outboard, but then on its flanks you can see it's polished, so it is both satinated and polished with handsome detailing and even a little bit of a bevel. The lugs, as is common with Lange watches, are stepped out and polished. And then you can see on the crown side we have vintage-inspired rectangular chronograph pushers and a Lange branded crown. Now, the bezel is broad and domed. It is platinum. The dial is broad and mostly comprised of smoked sapphire. You can see underneath the dial side of the Lange caliber 9517. You also get some sense of just how luminescent this lumen really is, and let's find out now. As you can see, no expense spared and nothing overlooked. They have even created a smoked sapphire over the dial, not just because it looks cool, but because it allows the light to pre-energize the luminescent discs of the calendar system, so they are always correct when the light goes out. Now, as you can see, there is a lot going on here. Not only are all of the hands at center loomed, but so is the power reserve indicator, so is the tachymeter scale, so are the sub-registers for constant seconds and chronograph minutes. Now, jumping back, you can see a couple of features set this watch apart. One is the flyback chronograph system. The Datograph has always been a flyback chronograph, reset and restart without first stopping. We have a power reserve indicator down at 6 o'clock. The power reserve is manual wind, 60 hours. We have a hacking or stop seconds function if we want it. As you can see, the watch will stop if you pull the crown out. And then we have a trigger system that acts as the quick set for the date. The hands, which are alpha style, the indices, and the frame for the date are all white gold to resist tarnish or oxidation over time. We have a tachymeter scale outboard with a base 400. It's in meters. So this is used to gauge the speed of an object, such as a race car over a kilometer. Turn it all over, you can see that this watch features the descendant of the original 1999 Lange Sohne caliber L951, which was a revelation then and remains one of the best today. Beautifully finished. It's also technically accomplished. Manual wind, 60-hour power reserve, 18,000 vibration per hour beat rate, free sprung balance of enormous size. It's almost the radius of the movement. It features an overcoil hairspring, so it will keep even time in every position, and it's adjusted in 5 positions like a chronometer would be. It pivots It's on 46 jewels. It features a column wheel, which you can see right here is both capped and black polished, and then there is a lateral clutch. Everything you see here that is silver is made of steel. It will be either satinated, black polished, or beveled on its edge, and you can see that the clutch for the chronograph is fully jeweled. So not only do we have outstanding performance, but if you look at the clutch itself, you can see there are sharp outward points that are beveled and sharp inward points that are also beveled. Very difficult to do on brass, almost impossible to do on these steel components. You can see there's a black polished cap for the escape wheel. We have a freehand engraved half bridge for the balance, black polished swan's neck fine adjustment system. We have jewels set in golden chaton fixed by blued screws, as we would have on a vintage Lange pocket watch. And take note, we have both fired blued screws and black polished screws on this movement. We have glasuta stripes across the bridges, which are made of German silver or an alloy of nickel, copper, and zinc. And you can see that there is beautiful mirrored anglage on the edge of both steel and German silver components. It's the copper that gives the German silver components their golden hue. All of this water resistant down to 30 meters, and I must say that the feel of the column wheel as you operate it is among the very finest in the business. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.